Cameron Smith. He's one hell of a player. He can shoot the lights out, as we've seen in the 2022 British Open and the Tournament of Champions in Hawaii earlier in the year. It's a bit of a unique swing, but it sure does get the job done. That, combined with his amazing putting stroke, enables him to shoot. He's shot 2 record-setting scores in the British Open and the Tournament of Champions. He knows how to get the job done, this boy. So we're going to have a look at a swing from down the line with driver, and then a swing face on with an iron, and just see what Cam does really well that enable him to shoot those really low scores. So at first, let's have a look at his setup position. Now, if we look from down the line, I'm just going to put some lines on here. We can see he's got nice neutral spine. There's not a lot of arch. There's a little bit there, but that's the sort of natural curvature in the spine. We don't see an overarching, and we don't see an over rounding. Just neutral position of the spine, which is ideal for golf. Let's just clear those lines off. I'm going to put a little line on his back line as well. So if you watch a lot of players, they'll maintain this relationship with that back line. But apart from that, I mean, setup wise, it's brilliant. Now if we look from face on, you'll see he's got shaft a little bit. It is a little bit on the takeaway, but he does set up. Let me just bring it back. So you can see there, he sets up with a lot of shaft lean. This enables him to create more shaft lean on the way down. I like this position because it almost presets impact. We'll see in a few moments when we run through this how much shaft lean Cam does get. Just a really nice position. I like how this knee is angled inwards, and as well, we'll see with the top guys, they all have a little bit of flare in the feet. What that enables them to do is correctly position the femur, this bone here, in the hip socket, which enables them to turn correctly around the hips. So it's just a really good setup position. You don't often see guys on tour with bad setup positions, and it's probably one of the most overlooked things in the golf swing in terms of amateurs, that they don't really take any notice of the setup position. But these guys on tour, they're maintaining that setup position and they're constantly checking it. So if we look at this driver from down the line, got that line on his butt. I'm going to actually draw another line just on his hands. It's not directly down the line, which isn't ideal, but for the purpose of this, it's pretty good. So we'll put a line on the shaft, and then we'll just put a line on his head movement. So as he takes the club away, you're going to see those hands just come a little bit. I'm going to clear a few of those lines off actually. Just come a little bit outside where his initial setup position was. Let me just rewind it back. We'll see. I'll just put this line back on his butt. So as he takes the club away, you can see, I'll just draw that line back on the hands. Look how the hands just work away initially. This is a position that I really like. It's something you'll see a lot of Harmon's pupils do. Tiger, 2000, Adam Scott. It just keeps the club head really in front of him. So as you can see, like, look how nice in front that club head is. It's in a nice square position where the club face is square to the back line. Just get rid of those couple of lines, and it just keeps it out in front of him. You'll see a lot of guys, especially amateurs, get this club head dragged behind them. Not a good move. You can start making all sorts of compensatory movements from there. So let me just get rid of that. And then from down the line, this first portion of the takeaway, you're going to see just not a lot of head movement, a little bit of load into the trail hip. You can see more from down the line. Look how that hip's moved back. It's moved back that way. So he's really loading into that trail glute to enable him to create some speed. We can get the weight and the center of mass on that trail side and then transfer it early in the downswing, or actually at the start of the backswing. We're going to see a lot of speed. Cam's not one of the longest players, but he's still pretty long. If you would play with him, you'd notice he does bomb it. So let me just get them off. So you can see here, He's got a little bit of wrist set. That right arm is nicely above the left arm, which we like to see. Got not the massive amount of bend in that right arm, which we'd normally see in a lot of guys, but he is a bit more old school in the way that he takes the club away. Like I said, that shaft is outside, the hands and that club head's outside, and those hands do move a little away from that body. So as he winds up, so you're going to see, look at that load into that trail hip. So he's really maintaining his posture, maintaining his angles, and loading into that trail hip. And you're going to see some great angles from the hips. A lot of guys turn too flat, especially AMs. Just get rid of that. So he's got some nice tilts there. And we'll just go from down the line. You'll start to see a little bit of wrist set. Not a huge amount, but it's more I'd say like Tiger almost in the 2000. It's not a bad move. You see a lot of guys having a little bit more wrist set up here around 90 degrees, but for Cam, he doesn't quite set the wrist as much as other guys. But what we'll notice, what we'll start to see, look at that width there, really great width. He's really loading. I'll just move this one on, and you'll start to see that right elbow gets quite tucked in, and he's starting, you can see that shaft plane's quite flat. This is why we don't see a lot of wrist set. So you can see that that's quite flat, and he's got a little bit, this you can't quite see because it just comes off the screen, but what he's doing here is just putting that wrist more into a bowed position, only slightly. I mean, this you're not going to see it on so you know if I'm drawing lines, but he's slightly moving more into flexion there. You can't really see it on the lines. If you saw it on 3D, you'd probably see this. What he's doing there is that club face here is in a nice shut position. Say nice because he matches it up quite well. Like I say, he's not getting bowed like a Dustin, but he's just moving towards that position. It's more the right hand really than the left hand. What he's doing is sort of twisting that grip at this position, which shuts the club face. We can see how short and how pointed to the sky that is. I'm just going to clear these lines off, and you can see again he's loaded into that trail hip from face on. We'll see, look, that shoulder is in a really nice position, and that he's a little bit shorter with the iron, but we can still see that club face points to the sky. Now with Cam, that say that elbow's in quite a tough, nice position really, but as he gets to the top, he just gets a little bit long, and what causes that is this trail elbow starts to move away like this. So just watch. You see that little move there? So his body's not really rotating anymore. It's just that trail elbow just sliding. I'd suggest he's probably weak in that trail scapula. So that trail scapula, the shoulder blade, the right side. If you get guys that aren't quite strong in that scapula, usually it's the sort of lower trapezius muscles that are weak. They'll generally get into this position where it just slides out a little bit there. Don't see it as much with the iron swing because he is a little bit shorter. Little bit there, but not massively. So it's almost a way of cheating a little bit of length. Now, a lot of guys who do that motion will then go very internal and get the club steep on the way down. Cam doesn't do that. You will see though, does lose a little bit of width there. So probably for Cam, the best, he might have an injury there, I don't know. But if he was to want to improve that, probably better off getting in the gym, if I'm totally honest. But you can see really good position. Now here, he also, as that right elbow starts to slide behind him, he starts to drive. Look at that leg move. Look at that leg move there. You see that right knee, that left knee, sorry, starts to move that way. Look, we'll just bring it down. Now this is because we get so enamored with stationary positions in the golf swing. We forget it's a dynamic move. Look at that, how much movement's there in the top of his swing. That's what creates the speed and the power and the load on the club. If we look from this angle, you'll see this left knee start to move in transition. Look, there we go. There we go. It's not as much as driver because the swing is longer, but we'll see there, it starts to move, starts to transition with the hips. the shoulders then followed by the arms, and then the club. So let's just clear a few more lines off. I like to draw lines and then clear them off. And then we'll see as he starts down, it's that move with the hip, he's going to really open up. Now, on the way down, he does a beautiful job of getting that trail shoulder right back in front of him. It's not a great angle from here to actually see, but he's getting that right elbow in front of the seam line. Now, a lot of guys who do have this move where they move that trail elbow back will then start to go internal and get the club steep. Cam doesn't, but he does that with a little bit more tilt. So he's going to tilt his right side, and we'll see in his finish position he's almost got a reverse C. That is to get that right shoulder in the right position to enable him to deliver the club properly. If he didn't get that tilt, then he's probably going to steepen that shaft out and not be the player that he is. Now, on the way down, you'll see this club face is fairly short for somebody at this level. It's fairly short. Now we'd see a little bit more open position. You can't really see it there because the range is just in the way, but very, very short position here. So that, I've just got rid of those lines. He starts to move, and then if you can sort of see from here, a little bit starting to shallow. He is a little bit steeper than probably most guys, but that's where that side bend starts coming in. That little motion there, that knee kick left, that right knee kicks inwards, and that's just going to shallow it out. It's going to get a nice, there we go. That elbow's now right in front of his body. His club face is in a very, very strong position. We'll see from down the line. Look at this position. Look at that lag that he's maintained. That elbow's got a nice bend in it. He's keeping his arms nice and close together. From here, the force is acting on the club head. They're just going to whip it through. He doesn't have to do a whole lot. You'll see, I'll just rewind this. Look at this sort of motion. He really goes this way, opens up. Can you see how he backs up on it? Backs up. See if we drew a little line from his head there from the start of the swing. Look, starts to back up on it, go down. He's really loading the ground. Now that move is a matchup because of where that elbow position goes. He's got to jump back on it, because if he didn't, and started to early extend and didn't move back, that club head would just get really, really steep on him. So that's his matchup. He's got to start to move back with that head. If you give Cameron the instruction not to move that head back, it's going to get steep. He's not going to be able to hit it. So it really, really opens up. And then from here, look at that lag. Just get rid of those lines again. Great position. And then from here, all he has to do is just rotate. Club face in a great delivery position. He can just rotate. If you look at his left toe, you'll start to see it comes off the ground as he's moving his weight and really opening up. He's moving the center of pressure and the mass into that heel, which is really powerful way. Can you see how that toe just comes up? Now he's got to get that rotation because he is so short on the downswing and the backswing, sorry. He has to get that rotation, or else he is going to hit some funky shots. So that's his matchup of moving back. Everything's back, and also behind it, which we'll see more from face on. So back, and that just look at that impact position, nice and open. Look how open. Let me just go to the next frame. Look how open those shoulders are and that thorax. Look how open the hips are. Brilliant position there. And then if we go face on, look at the lag he's got there. Lag down. Look at that angle of attack, nice and steep. And look how much shaft lean he's got at impact. Now this is probably why he's played quite well on these courses like St Andrews and Kapalua course. You know, the ground's generally quite firm on these sort of courses by the sea. So he's really getting a steep angle of attack when the lies are quite bare. Great way of approaching the ball. Look at that. Now what we're going to see now, this is a result of that backup in the swing. When he follows through, we're going to really see, look at that knee move this way. Now he's doing that because he needs to help shallow the club head because of that right arm position. You're going to see quite a steep shoulder plane because he's backing up to again shallow it out, and we're not going to see a great deal of movement in the eye gaze. He keeps his head down quite a while, which again will help him back up and shallow it. This move that we talked about, back up, shallow, which he has to do from that right arm across the line position. And then what we're going to see in the follow through is this almost old school reverse sort of C position. It's only minor, but you can see a lot of guys more and more sort of up and down this way now, whereas Cam's got a little bit of arch in his back, but that's a matchup that he has to do with the club face and where that right arm position is, and also him being across the line at the top of this swing. It's a unique swing, but his coach obviously knows really well where his matchups are. Like I said, if he doesn't back up out of it, he's going to hit the ball off the planet. So you can have some funky movements in the swing at any level, but it's knowing how to match these up. Like I say, if Cam were to swing it without this backup, a lot of guys might say, right, keep your head more over the ball and don't back up so much. He's just going to get steep and he's going to hit it into some funky positions. So if he wanted to change this backup move, which I don't know why he'd want to change, look at this backup move, then he's probably going to have to change the club face position. This right arm position probably needs to go in the gym, and the length of the swing where it is. This is where we've got to manage the players. But what a great action, and something that's not talked about and we can't really see it on slow-mo is the tempo of the swing. Just a lovely flowing swing. That matched up with his putting stroke. He's a force to be reckoned with, and I'm sure in the years to come he'll knock off plenty more majors and plenty more tournaments.